I never imagined grabbing a stranger's hand to avoid my ex-husband would lead me to discover he was the alpha king of werewolves, or that I'd become his queen and the mother of his children. What would you do if the man who saved you from your past revealed he wasn't human at all, but your destined mate? The cold seeps into my bones as I press myself against the wall, trying to disappear into the shadows of this fancy ballroom where I clearly don't belong. 3 years free from Victor's control, yet his presence still makes it hard to breathe when I spot him across the room. My divorce papers might as well have been written in invisible ink for all he respects them. Sophia's here with her new husband, someone whispers too loudly as I pass. The whispers follow me everywhere in this small town. Poor Charlotte, the woman who wasn't enough. The failure who couldn't give Victor children. The disappointment who walked away from the perfect marriage everyone thought was so wonderful. I shouldn't have come to this charity party, but my sister Jane insisted I stop hiding in my little bookshop on the edge of town. You can't let him win forever, she said. Easy for her to say. She doesn't jump at sudden movements or dream of fights that end with broken glass. My black dress feels too tight, too plain, compared to the sparkling gowns around me. The music is too loud, the lights too bright, the room too crowded. Every laugh makes me flinch. Every clink of glasses against each other reminds me of the sound right before something shatters. That's when I see him moving through the crowd toward me. Victor's eyes locked on mine with that familiar smile that never reaches his eyes. The same smile he'd wear right before he'd tell me how I'd embarrassed him at dinner, how my outfit was wrong, how my opinions were stupid. Panic rises in my throat. I can't breathe. Can't face him. Not here. Not yet. Not with everyone watching, ready to see me fail again, ready to tell each other later how poor Victor is still trying to help his broken ex-wife. I look for an escape route, but I'm cornered between a large plant and the bar. Victor is 10 steps away. 8 steps. 5. His cologne reaches me before he does. That expensive scent that still haunts my nightmares. In desperation, I reach out and grab the hand of a stranger standing near the bar, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a perfect black suit that screams money and power. When our fingers touch, something electric passes between us. His eyes, somehow golden under the chandelier light, widen slightly as they meet mine. Please, I whisper, my voice small and scared. Just for a minute. Before he can respond, I'm pulling him toward the terrace doors, away from Victor, away from my past, away from the weight of everyone's judgment. I don't realize until we're outside in the cool night air that I've just dragged the most intimidating man in the room into my mess. The night air hits my hot face, a blessed relief from the stuffiness inside. Stars dot the sky above us, uncaring about the small human dramas playing out below them. The stranger's hand is warm in mine, strong but not gripping too tight. Not like Victor's hand, which always held just a bit too firmly. A quiet reminder of who was in control. I'm sorry, I stammer, dropping his hand like it's burning me. I didn't mean to. I just needed to. He studies me with those strange golden eyes. He doesn't smile or frown. He just watches, like he's trying to solve a puzzle. He won't follow you out here, the stranger says, his voice deep and calm like a still lake. Men like that prefer an audience. I blink up at him, surprised. You don't know him. I know his type. His gaze shifts toward the ballroom, something dangerous flickering in his eyes. The kind who wear their goodness like a mask, hiding the monster underneath. A chill runs down my spine that has nothing to do with the night air. How does he know? How can he see what took me 5 years of marriage to discover? I'm Charlotte, I say, because I don't know what else to say. He turns those golden eyes back to me, and for a moment, I swear they glow in the darkness. Dominic, he replies, offering nothing more. Inside, the music changes to something slower, more romantic. Couples glide across the dance floor, lost in each other. Through the glass doors, I spot Victor scanning the crowd, his perfect mask slipping to show the anger underneath. Even from here, I can read the tension in his shoulders, the tightness of his jaw. He hates losing control of anything, especially me. "Your ex-husband?" Dominic asks, following my gaze. I nod, hugging myself against the chill. "How did you know?" "You have the look of someone who escaped a cage but still feels the bars around them." His words hit too close to home, and tears spring to my eyes before I can stop them. I turn away, embarrassed. 3 years free, and I'm still the weak, scared woman who jumped at shadows and apologized for breathing too loudly. "I should go," I mumble, moving toward the side stairs that lead down to the garden. "I'm sorry for dragging you into this, Charlotte." The way he says my name stops me. Not gentle, not harsh, just certain, like he knows exactly who I am. "Don't run because of him," Dominic says. "Don't give him that power." "You don't understand," I whisper, still not facing him. "It's not that simple. Few important things are." His voice comes closer, though I don't hear him move. "But running only teaches you to be afraid. Standing your ground teaches you to be strong." I turn back to face him, wiping away a stray tear with the back of my hand. And if I'm not strong enough? Something like a smile touches his lips, though it doesn't reach his eyes. Not like Victor's empty smile, though. This is different, guarded, cautious. Like smiling is a skill he's forgotten how to use properly. "You grabbed a stranger's hand and pulled him away from a crowded room to escape a man who terrifies you," he says. That doesn't sound weak to me. Before I can answer, the terrace doors swing open, and a woman in a red dress steps out, her eyes narrowing when she spots Dominic. "There you are," she says, completely ignoring me. "Everyone's wondering where you disappeared to. Your speech is in 15 minutes. Dominic's face changes, closing off like shutters over a window. Whatever glimpse of the real man I'd seen vanishes behind a cool mask of indifference. "I'll be there," he tells her, his tone making it clear the conversation is over. She hesitates, looking between us with obvious curiosity and something that might be jealousy, before turning and walking back inside with a huff of irritation. "Speech?" I ask. "Unfortunately." He straightens his already perfect tie, the price of doing business in a small town. "You're not from here," I say. "It's not a question. I would remember someone like him, just passing through." He looks out at the dark garden beyond the terrace, something wild in his expression. Or I was. The way he says it makes me shiver again. Like plans have changed. Like something unexpected has happened. "I should let you get back," I say, suddenly feeling small and foolish in my plain black dress, with my plain brown hair, and my plain, broken life. Men like him don't talk to women like me without a reason. "Thank you for helping me." "I did nothing," he says, turning those golden eyes back to me. "You did," I insist. "You could have pulled away when some random woman grabbed you. You could have made a scene. You could have." "Been like him?" Dominic finishes, nodding toward the ballroom where Victor still lurks. I nod, unable to find the right words. "We're not all monsters, Charlotte," he says quietly. Then, after a pause, he adds, "At least, not the same kind." Before I can ask what he means, he gives me a small nod and turns toward the doors. Just before he reaches them, he stops and looks back at me. "The gardens connect to the street behind the hotel," he says, "if you want to leave without going back inside." With that, he's gone, swallowed by the glittering crowd, leaving me alone with the night stars and the strange feeling that something important has just happened. Something that will change everything. I take his advice and slip down the garden stairs, following the stone path through sculpted bushes and sleeping flowers. As I reach the back gate, some instinct makes me turn and look up at the hotel. There, in a window on the top floor, A silhouette watches me, broad-shouldered and still, unmistakably him. I lift my hand in a small wave before I can stop myself. The figure doesn't move for a long moment. Then, slowly, he lifts his hand in return. I hurry through the gate and into the quiet street beyond, my heart beating too fast in my chest. As I walk home to my small apartment above my bookshop, I can't shake the feeling of those golden eyes watching me, seeing through all my carefully built walls to the scared, lonely woman underneath. For the first time in 3 years, I dream not of Victor's anger or my failures, but of a man with golden eyes, who looks at me and sees not what I am, but what I could be. 3 days after the charity party, the sky turns dark with angry storm clouds. Thunder rumbles in the distance as I arrange books on the shelves of my little shop. The soft patter of rain against the windows grows into a steady drumming that drowns out the classical music playing softly from my old radio. I love my bookshop most on rainy days. The smell of old pages and hot tea fills the air, and the gray light makes the colorful book covers stand out like jewels. It's my safe place, the only thing I truly got to keep after leaving Victor. My sister helped me buy it when I had nothing else, and over 3 years, I've turned it into a cozy haven where I feel truly at peace. Today has been quiet, with only a handful of customers braving the weather. I don't mind. The emptiness gives me time to think, and lately, my thoughts keep drifting to a pair of golden eyes and a voice that made me feel both seen and protected. I shake my head, trying to clear it. I've been silly about this stranger, this Dominic, for days now, building him up in my mind like some fairy tale hero when he's just a man passing through town who was kind to me for a few minutes. The sign on the door is already flipped to closed, but I'm still organizing the new shipment of romance novels that arrived this morning. The clock reads 6:30 p.m., and outside, the storm grows stronger. Lightning flashes, followed by a crack of thunder so loud it makes me jump and drop the book I'm holding. That's when I hear it a pounding on the door, frantic and desperate. My heart leaps into my throat, my mind immediately jumping to Victor. Has he finally decided to confront me after seeing me run from the party? The pounding continues, more urgent now. Something about the rhythm doesn't feel like Victor's controlled impatience. This sounds desperate, almost panicked. Cautiously, I approach the door, peering through the rain-streaked glass. What I see makes me gasp. It's him, the stranger from the party, Dominic. He's drenched from the rain, his expensive suit now sodden and torn in places. Blood trickles from a cut on his forehead, mixing with rainwater and running down his face. But what truly shocks me is the small child he cradles against his chest. A little girl with dark hair, her face buried against his neck. I unlock the door immediately, pulling it open against the howling wind. "Please," he says, his voice strained. His golden eyes, so confident at the party, now hold a look of desperation. "We need help." I step back without hesitation, letting them inside. Water pools around their feet on the wooden floor as I quickly lock the door behind them. The little girl whimpers but doesn't look up, her tiny fists clutching Dominic's shirt like it's her only lifeline. "What happened?" I ask, already moving to grab the first aid kit I keep under the counter and the stack of clean towels from the back room. "Car trouble," he says, but something in his eyes tells me that's not the whole truth. We were caught in the storm. There was an accident. I don't press him. The cut on his head is bleeding steadily, and his left leg seems to pain him when he moves. The child looks physically unhurt but terrified. "My apartment is upstairs," I tell him, gesturing to the back staircase. "Let's get you both dry and warm." He follows me up the narrow stairs, limping slightly. I'm suddenly very aware of how small my apartment is, just a living room with a kitchenette, 1 bedroom, and a tiny bathroom. Nothing like the kind of place a man in custom suits would be used to. "It's not much," I say, feeling oddly embarrassed. It's perfect, he replies, his eyes taking in the overstuffed bookshelf, the soft blankets piled on my small couch, the mismatched mugs hanging from hooks in the kitchen. It's safe. The way he says that last word makes me wonder what exactly they're running from. But the little girl is shivering now, and his cut needs attention. The bathroom is through there, I say, pointing. There are clean towels on the shelf. I'll find some dry clothes for you both. While they're in the bathroom, I quickly dig through my drawers. I find an oversized t-shirt that might fit him, though it will be too short, and a pair of sweatpants with a drawstring waist. For the little girl, I have nothing, but I pull out my softest sweater, thinking it can serve as a makeshift dress until her clothes dry. I set the clothes outside the bathroom door and busy myself making hot chocolate on the stove. The rich smell fills the small apartment, a comfort against the storm still raging outside. Thunder crashes, and I hear a small yelp from the bathroom, the child frightened by the noise. When they emerge, the sight makes my heart squeeze in my chest. Dominic looks different in my too small clothes, less intimidating somehow. His hair, free from whatever product had kept it perfect at the party, falls across his forehead in damp waves. The cut above his eye is still bleeding. The little girl wears my sweater like a dress, the sleeves hanging past her fingertips, the hem brushing her ankles. She can't be more than 4 or 5 years old, with big eyes the exact same golden color as Dominic's, and a mop of curly dark hair. She sticks close to his side, one hand fisted in the fabric of the sweatpants I gave him. "I'm Charlotte," I say to her softly, kneeling down to her eye level. "What's your name?" She looks up at Dominic instead of answering. "This is Lily," he says, his hand resting gently on her head. She doesn't talk much." I nod, not pushing. "I made hot chocolate," I tell her, "with extra marshmallows. Would you like some?" A tiny nod is my only answer, but it feels like a victory. "Sit," I tell Dominic, pointing to one of the kitchen chairs. "Let me clean that cut." To my surprise, he obeys without argument, settling into the chair with a barely suppressed wince. Up close, I can see how exhausted he looks, dark circles under his eyes, tension in his jaw. I wonder how long they've been running, and from what. I clean the cut carefully with antiseptic wipes from my first aid kit. Lily watches my every move from where she perches on the chair next to him, clutching her mug of hot chocolate in both hands but not drinking. "It's not deep," I say, applying a butterfly bandage to hold the edges of the cut together. "But head wounds bleed a lot. You might need stitches." "No hospitals," he says immediately, his voice sharp. Our eyes meet, and I see a flash of something wild and dangerous in his gaze, before he looks away. "No hospitals," I agree quietly, "but you'll need to keep it clean." The tension in his shoulders eases slightly. "Thank you," he says, his voice softer now. "Are you hurt anywhere else?" He hesitates, then lifts the edge of the t-shirt to reveal a nasty bruise blooming across his ribs on the left side. I suck in a breath at the sight. "Car accident?" I ask, my disbelief clear in my voice. This looks more like someone hit him hard. His eyes meet mine again, and this time I see the silent plea in them. Not now. Not in front of Lily. I nod slightly and turn my attention to the little girl instead. "Are you hungry, Lily? I can make some grilled cheese sandwiches." She nods again, watching me with those golden eyes that seem too old for her young face. As I prepare the simple meal, I can feel Dominic's gaze on my back, assessing, wondering. I have questions. So many questions. But they can wait. Right now, these two need warmth and safety and food, and those are things I can provide. We eat at my small kitchen table while the storm rages outside. Lily nibbles at her sandwich, still not speaking, but some of the fear has left her eyes. Dominic eats like a man starving, though he tries to hide it with careful manners. "You can stay here tonight," I tell him as I clear the plates. The couch pulls out into a bed. He looks at me with surprise. "You would let us stay?" Just like that? Where else would you go in this storm? I ask. But we both know that's not the real reason. The real reason is the way my heart twisted when I saw them at my door, wet and hurt and afraid. The real reason is the little girl who reminds me of myself at that age, silent and watchful and scared. We won't stay long, he promises, just until. Until it's safe, I finish for him. He nods, that penetrating gaze studying my face. Why are you helping us? You don't know us. You don't know me. I think about that night on the terrace, how he saw the truth about Victor without me having to explain, how he didn't make me feel small or silly for being afraid. You helped me, I say simply, when you could have walked away. Lily yawns then, her eyes drooping. Dominic scoops her up automatically, and she settles against his chest like she belongs there, her small head tucked under his chin. The bedroom is through there, I tell him, pointing. You two can take the bed. I'll sleep on the couch. He starts to protest, but I shake my head. She needs real rest, and that pullout isn't very comfortable. Please. After a moment, he nods. Thank you, Charlotte, he says, and the way he says my name makes it sound like something precious. I watch as he carries Lily to my bedroom, speaking softly to her in words I can't quite hear. Their shadows move across the wall, him tucking her in, smoothing her hair, checking the window locks twice before sitting on the edge of the bed. Later, after I've made up the couch for myself and turned out most of the lights, I hear my bedroom door open. Dominic steps out, moving silently despite his injured leg. Is she asleep? I ask. He nods, coming to sit on the other end of the couch. Finally, the storm has quieted to a gentle rain tapping against the windows. In the dim light, his profile looks carved from stone. Who's after you? I ask quietly. He turns to look at me, surprise flickering across his face. Then, something like respect. You're very observant, he says. I had to be, with Victor. The words slip out before I can stop them. Dominic's jaw tightens at the mention of my ex. Men like that train you to notice every small change, every warning sign. I nod, surprised again by how well he understands. I can't tell you everything, he says after a long pause. Not yet, but yes, there are people looking for us. Dangerous people who want something Lily has. What could a child possibly have that dangerous people want? His smile is sad and tired. Her future, he says cryptically. Her birthright. I want to ask more questions, but the exhaustion in his eyes stops me. Instead, I say, You're safe here, both of you, for as long as you need. He studies me in the dim light. Why aren't you afraid of me? He asks. You should be. Should I? Most people are, he admits, with good reason. I've lived with real monsters, I tell him, thinking of Victor's charming public smile and cruel private hands. I know what they look like. You're not one of them. Something shifts in his expression, surprise, maybe even wonder. He reaches out slowly, giving me time to pull away, and tucks a strand of hair behind my ear. Get some sleep, Charlotte, he says, his voice low and gentle. Tomorrow will come soon enough. As he returns to the bedroom, closing the door softly behind him, I curl up under my blankets on the couch and listen to the rain. I know I should be more cautious, more afraid of this stranger and whatever danger follows him, but for the first time in years, I feel something unfamiliar stirring in my chest. It takes me a moment to recognize it as hope. Days stretch into weeks. The storm passes, but Dominic and Lily remain. What began as one night's shelter has somehow become an arrangement none of us talk about ending. Dominic's cut has healed to a thin pink line above his eyebrow. His limp is gone. There's no reason for them to stay, yet each morning I wake to find them still here, as if they've always been part of my small world. Lily follows me around the bookshop like a tiny shadow. At first, She wouldn't let Dominic out of her sight, clinging to his leg or demanding to be carried. But slowly, she's begun to trust me. She helps me dust the lower shelves with a cloth clutched in her small fist. She sorts the picture books by color. She sits cross-legged in the children's corner while I read aloud to her, her golden eyes wide and attentive. She still doesn't speak, not a word, but she's started to smile tiny, fleeting expressions that transform her solemn little face. Dominic works in the shop too, moving boxes I can't lift, fixing the leaky sink in the bathroom, helping customers reach books on the highest shelves. He's good with people, though he seems surprised by this himself. Women come to the shop more often now, finding reasons to browse while stealing glances at him. Men respect him immediately, something in his bearing commanding their attention. At night, after Lily falls asleep, Dominic and I sit in my small living room, talking in low voices. He's still careful about what he shares. I know he's wealthy, though he never flaunts it. I know he has enemies, though he won't name them. I know Lily isn't his daughter by birth, but by choice. She needed someone, and I was there, is all he'll say about how they came to be together. It's a Tuesday evening when things begin to shift between us. Lily is asleep in what we now call her bed, a small cot Dominic bought and set up in my bedroom. The windows are open to let in the cool spring breeze, and the sounds of the town settling down for the night drift up from the street below. I'm on the small balcony outside my living room, a cup of tea warming my hands as I watch the stars appear one by one. Dominic joins me, leaning against the railing. The sleeves of his shirt, a simple blue button-down he bought to replace his ruined suit, are rolled up to his elbows, showing strong forearms and a strange mark on his left wrist that looks almost like a birthmark in the shape of a crescent moon. Lily sorted all the blue books together today, I say, smiling at the memory. She seemed so proud. She's different with you, he replies, his voice thoughtful. Happier. More like a child should be. Children are amazingly strong, I tell him. They can bounce back from so much if they feel safe. Is that what happened with you? He asks quietly. The question catches me off guard. We've talked around my past with Victor, but never directly about it. Never about the before, about the girl I was before I met him, about what made me vulnerable to his particular brand of charm and control. I wasn't a child when I met Victor, I say, staring into my tea. I was 22, old enough to know better. That no one is old enough to see a monster wearing a human face, Dominic says, his tone hardening. Especially when everyone around you sees only the human part. Did you know, I begin, surprising myself by continuing, that when I finally left him, my own parents took his side? They said I was throwing away a good man over minor disagreements, that I was being too sensitive. Dominic's hands tighten on the railing. In the dim light, I swear his eyes glow for a moment. What happened? He asks, his voice carefully controlled. 3 years of marriage happened, I say, the words spilling out now. 3 years of being told I was too loud, too quiet, too fat, too thin, too stupid, too stubborn. 3 years of apologizing for existing. 3 years of covering bruises with makeup and making excuses for why I couldn't go swimming or wear short sleeves. I pause, taking a shaky breath. I've never said these things out loud before. Not to anyone. The night I left, I continue, he threw a glass vase at my head because I bought the wrong brand of coffee. It missed me by an inch and shattered against the wall. While he was yelling at me for making him lose his temper, for making such a mess, I had this moment of perfect clarity. I realized he was going to kill me one day. Maybe not on purpose, maybe not soon, but eventually. Dominic is very still beside me, but I can feel the tension rolling off him in waves. I waited until he fell asleep, I say, my voice dropping to a whisper. I packed one bag with my most important things. I called my sister, the only person who ever saw through his act, and she drove 3 hours to pick me up. I left in the middle of the night with nothing but some clothes and my favorite books and my sister's promise that I would never have to go back. Your sister sounds like a good person, Dominic says after a moment. The best, I agree. She loaned me the money to buy the bookshop. She believed in me when no one else did. We stand in silence for a while, watching the stars together. I feel lighter somehow, having shared this burden I've carried alone for so long. When I was young, Dominic says suddenly, my father taught me to wear a mask, to hide what I really felt, what I really was. He pauses, choosing his words carefully. In his world, our world, showing weakness meant death. I turned to look at him, surprised by this unexpected glimpse into his past. So I learned to be what others feared, he continues, still looking at the stars. To be harder, faster, stronger. To never show pain or doubt. To lead without question. That sounds lonely, I say softly. He turns to me then, and the raw honesty in his eyes takes my breath away. It was. It is. Until what? Until Lily, he says. Until you. My heart speeds up at his words. Me? You see me, he says simply. Not the mask I wear, not the power I have, just me. And what do I see? I ask, barely breathing. His smile is sad and wry. Someone as broken as you are. Someone trying to be better than what life made him. Without thinking, I reach out and touch his cheek. His skin is warm under my fingertips. He goes very still, like a wild animal that's not sure whether to run or stay. We're all broken in different ways, I tell him. But that doesn't mean we can't be whole again. He closes his eyes, leaning slightly into my touch. I've done things, Charlotte, he whispers. Things you wouldn't forgive. Try me. I challenge gently. His eyes open, and there it is again, that strange golden glow that I keep telling myself is just a trick of the light. Not tonight, he says, not yet. I let my hand fall away, but he catches it in his own, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. Thank you, he says, his voice rough with emotion, for Lily, for all of this. I haven't done anything special, I protest. You've done everything, he insists. You took in strangers. You made a home for a silent child. You let me be weak when I needed to heal. I think about the weeks they've been here, about Dominic's nightmares that wake me sometimes, his voice crying out in a language I don't recognize, about Lily's slow transformation from a frightened, silent ghost to a child who smiles and helps and plays, about my own heart opening again after I thought it was closed forever. Maybe we're helping each other, I suggest. His smile reaches his eyes this time, softening his whole face. Maybe we are. Later that night, after Dominic has gone to sleep on the pull-out couch, I check on Lily as I always do. She's curled up on her side, one small hand tucked under her cheek, the other clutching the stuffed wolf Dominic bought her at the toy store last week. As I turn to leave, a tiny voice stops me so soft, I almost think I imagined it. Night, Lottie. I freeze, my heart pounding. I turn back slowly, but Lily's eyes are still closed, her breathing even in sleep. Did I dream it? Those two precious words. The next morning, I'm arranging new books on the front table, when Lily tugs on my skirt. I look down to find her holding up a picture book about a lost puppy finding a new family. Read? She asks, her voice small but clear. I nearly drop the stack of books I'm holding. Behind the counter, Dominic goes completely still, his eyes wide with shock and something like hope. I kneel down to Lily's level, trying to act normal despite the lump in my throat. Of course, sweetie. Let's go to the reading corner. As I read to her, my voice only shaking a little, Dominic watches us with an expression I've never seen on his face before. Pure joy, mixed with something deeper, something that makes my heart beat faster when our eyes meet over Lily's dark curls. That night, after another quiet dinner in my small kitchen, the three of us walk to the park a few blocks away. Lily runs ahead to the swings, her earlier breakthrough seeming to have opened a floodgate. She's not chattering nonstop like some children, but she asks for things now. Push me higher again. Dominic and I sit on a nearby bench, close enough to watch her but far enough to talk privately. The setting sun paints the sky in shades of pink and gold, catching in his hair and making his eyes shine like amber. She spoke today because she feels safe with you, he says, watching Lily pump her legs on the swing. She trusts you. She trusts us both, I correct him. We're giving her what she needs: stability, safety, a chance to just be a little girl. A family, he says quietly. The word hangs between us, full of meaning neither of us is ready to put into words. Dominic, I start, then stop, unsure how to ask the question that's been growing in my mind. What is it? He prompts. Who are you? Really? I finally ask. Not what you do or where you come from. Who are you underneath all of that? He's silent for so long I think he won't answer. Then he reaches for my hand, his fingers warm as they intertwine with mine. I'm someone who has been alone for a very long time, he says at last. Someone who thought power was the only thing that mattered, until I found something worth protecting. Someone who is afraid of wanting more than he deserves. And what do you want? I whisper. His eyes meet mine, full of longing and fear and hope. This, he says simply. You, Lily. Mornings in the bookshop and nights on the balcony. A place where I don't have to be strong all the time. A place where I can just be myself. You have that, I tell him, squeezing his hand. For as long as you want it. Do I? He asks, his voice barely audible. Even if the truth about me is harder than you can imagine? I'm stronger than I look, I remind him. And the truth can't be worse than what I've made up in my head. He laughs at that, but it's a sad sound. Don't be so sure. Lily calls to us then, wanting Dominic to push her on the merry-go-round. The moment breaks, but something has shifted between us. A door has opened that can't be closed again. That night, long after Lily has gone to bed, Dominic and I stay up talking. He tells me about growing up with a harsh father who valued strength above all else, about a brother who resented him, about a birthright that became a burden. He still speaks in vague terms, skirting around specifics, but I can feel him trying to prepare me for a truth he thinks might send me running. I tell him about growing up with parents who valued appearances over happiness, about meeting Victor when I was young and insecure and easy to impress, about the slow, careful way he isolated me from friends and family, until his was the only voice I heard. We talk until the moon is high in the sky, casting silver light through the windows. When we finally run out of words, we sit in comfortable silence, side by side on the couch, our shoulders touching. Charlotte, Dominic says, his voice thick with emotion, thank you for showing me what home feels like. I turn to him, tears pricking my eyes at the raw honesty in his face. Without thinking, I lean forward and press my lips gently to his. He stays perfectly still for a heartbeat. Then his hands come up to cradle my face as he kisses me back with a tenderness that makes my heart ache. When we part, both breathless, he rests his forehead against mine. I don't deserve this, he whispers. Yes, I tell him firmly. You do. We both do. In the quiet of my small apartment, with Lily sleeping peacefully in the next room and Dominic's arms around me, I feel truly safe for the first time in years. Whatever truth he's hiding, whatever danger follows him, we'll face it together. For now, this moment is enough. The bell above the shop door jingles, and I look up from helping Lily with her reading to see Victor standing there. My blood freezes in my veins, and the cheerful children's book about dinosaurs slips from my fingers. 2 months have passed since Dominic and Lily arrived on my doorstep. 2 months of quiet mornings in the bookshop, family dinners in my small kitchen, and gentle kisses after Lily goes to bed. 2 months of feeling safe and happy and whole. 2 months of forgetting that the outside world still exists. But now Victor is here, in my safe space, looking exactly the same as he did the day I left him 3 years ago. His dark hair is perfectly styled. His suit is expensive and pressed. His smile is wide and friendly, the public smile that hid so many cruel words. "Charlotte," he says, his voice smooth as honey and just as sticky. "You look well." Lily senses my fear and presses against me, her small body warm against my side. I stand, placing myself between her and Victor without even thinking about it. "What are you doing here?" I ask, proud that my voice doesn't shake. Victor steps further into the shop, glancing around with that look I know so well, the one that says he's judging everything he sees and finding it lacking. "So, this is where you've been hiding," he says, ignoring my question. "Everyone's talking about your house guests." His eyes land on Lily, who stares back at him with those unusual golden eyes. Something flickers across Victor's face, surprise, maybe, or suspicion. "This is private property," I say, my hand resting protectively on Lily's shoulder. "You need to leave." Victor laughs, that soft, condescending laugh that always made me feel small and stupid. "Come now, Charlotte. Is that any way to greet your husband?" "Ex-husband," I correct him, my voice stronger than I feel. "Technicality." He waves his hand as if dismissing something unimportant. "I've missed you. Things got out of hand before. I've changed." The words are so familiar they make me sick. How many times had he said those exact things after hurting me? How many times had I believed him? I said, "Leave." I take a step back, guiding Lily with me. "Now." Victor's face hardens, the mask slipping just enough to show the anger underneath. "You think you can hide from me? In this pathetic little store, playing house with some stranger and his brat?" Lily whimpers, pressing herself against my legs. The sound ignites something in me, not fear, but fury. How dare he frighten her? How dare he bring his poison into our home? "Don't talk about her like that," I say, my voice low and dangerous in a way I've never heard before. "Don't you dare." Victor takes a step toward me, and I can smell his cologne, that expensive scent that still sometimes haunts my nightmares. "You know, Charlotte, I was willing to be reasonable, to forgive your indiscretions. But I'm starting to think you need a reminder of your place." The old fear rises, but now there's something else too. Anger for myself, for the little girl clutching my hand, for all the years I spent afraid. "My place is right here," I tell him, standing my ground, "in my shop, with my family, and you have no right to be here." Victor's smile disappears completely, his face transforming into the one I remember from our worst fights. Cold, hard, dangerous. "Family?" He spits the word. "You think some drifter and his kid are your family? That's rich, Charlotte, especially since you couldn't even give me a—" The door to the back room opens, and Dominic emerges. Though still healing from whatever injuries brought him to my door that rainy night, he carries himself differently now. Power radiates from him like heat from a fire. His golden eyes take in the scene in an instant, narrowing when they land on Victor. "Is there a problem?" Dominic asks, his voice deadly calm. Victor turns to face him, and I see the moment of calculation in his eyes, sizing Dominic up, looking for weaknesses. If he finds any, he doesn't show it. "This is between me and my wife," Victor says, straightening his already perfect tie. "Ex-wife," Dominic and I say simultaneously. A flush of anger colors Victor's cheeks. He's not used to being challenged, not used to being outnumbered. His eyes dart between us, then to the door, measuring his options. "You know," he says, his voice deceptively casual, "when people in town started talking about Charlotte shacking up with some stranger, I was curious, had to see for myself what kind of man would take my leftovers. Dominic doesn't rise to the bait. He simply moves to stand beside me, close enough that I can feel the warmth of him, far enough that he's not taking over my fight. But now I see, Victor continues, his smile returning, sharp as a knife. You're just using her. A convenient hideout. A woman desperate enough for affection that she'll take in anyone with a sad story. Victor, that's enough, I say, my hands trembling with anger rather than fear. Leave, now, or I'm calling the police. Victor attempts to reassert control, stepping toward me. Charlotte belongs. He never finishes. Dominic moves with shocking speed, suddenly between us. Charlotte belongs to no one but herself, Dominic says, his voice barely above a whisper but somehow filling the room. And if you ever come near her again, what happens next will make you wish you hadn't. Something passes between the two men, some silent communication I can't quite follow. But I see the moment Victor's confidence falters, the moment something like fear flickers in his eyes. You don't know who you're dealing with, Victor says. But he takes a step back. Dominic smiles, and there's something primal in it that sends a shiver down my spine. Neither do you. For a long moment, no one moves. The only sound in the shop is Lily's quick, frightened breathing and the distant ticking of the clock on the wall. Then Victor straightens his jacket and nods, as if he's made some decision. This isn't over, Charlotte, he says, his voice cold. We both know you'll come crawling back eventually. You always do. With that parting shot, he turns and walks out of the shop, the cheerful bell above the door a jarring contrast to the tension he leaves in his wake. The moment he's gone, my legs give out. I sink to the floor, shaking so hard my teeth chatter. Lily immediately climbs into my lap, her small arms wrapping around my neck, her face buried against my shoulder. Dominic kneels beside us, his hand warm and steady on my back. Are you all right? He asks, his fierce protectiveness melting into concern. I nod, though I'm anything but all right. The fear I thought I'd conquered is back, twisting in my stomach like a living thing. I'm sorry, I whisper, though I'm not sure what I'm apologizing for. Don't, Dominic says firmly. Don't apologize for him, not ever. I look up, meeting those golden eyes that have become so dear to me. How did you know that I needed you? I heard his voice, Dominic says simply. I recognized the type. I nod, understanding. Dominic has his own demons, his own battles. He knows the sound of a threat when he hears one. He'll be back, I say, the certainty settling like lead in my stomach. He hates losing, hates being challenged. Let him come, Dominic says, and there's something in his voice that makes me look at him more closely. His eyes seem to glow in the dim light of the shop, and his face has a hardness I've never seen before. He won't touch you, either of you. Who are you, really? I whisper, the question that's been on my lips for weeks, finally escaping. There's something you're not telling me. Dominic's expression softens as he looks at me. Someone who recognizes what's worth protecting, he answers, his hand moving to stroke Lily's dark curls. Someone who has found something worth fighting for. The answer isn't really an answer at all, but I let it go for now. There will be time for truth later. For now, we need to focus on keeping Lily safe, on dealing with the threat Victor represents. I manage to stand, still holding Lily, who refuses to let go of my neck. We should close early today, I say, trying to sound normal for her sake. Maybe get some ice cream? Dominic nods, understanding what I'm trying to do. Ice cream sounds perfect, he says, his voice gentle as he looks at Lily. What do you think, little wolf? Lily lifts her head from my shoulder, her eyes still wide with fear, but a tiny smile tugging at her lips at the nickname. Chocolate? She asks in her small voice. Double chocolate, Dominic promises, tapping her nose lightly with his finger. As he moves to lock the shop door and flip the sign to closed, I catch him glancing out the window, his body tense and alert. The encounter with Victor has changed something in him, awakened something I've only glimpsed before in unguarded moments. That night, after we've distracted Lily with ice cream and a trip to the park and her favorite bedtime story, Dominic and I sit on the balcony. The spring night is cool, and I wrap a blanket around my shoulders, still unable to stop the occasional tremor that runs through me. "He frightens you still," Dominic observes, his voice neutral but his eyes sharp as they study my face. "Yes," I admit, not like before. "But yes." "Why?" he asks, and I know he's not being cruel. He genuinely wants to understand. I think about it, trying to put into words the fear that lived with me for 3 years of marriage and 3 years of freedom. Because he knows exactly how to hurt me, I say finally. Because he spent years learning all my weak spots, all my insecurities, and because he enjoys using them against me. Dominic is quiet for a long moment, his face unreadable in the dim light from the street below. "He won't hurt you again," he says finally, and it sounds like a vow. "You can't promise that," I say gently. "You can't be with me every minute." "Can't I?" There's something in his voice, a challenge, a question, a promise. I turn to look at him fully, really seeing him for perhaps the first time. The strength in his shoulders, the watchfulness in his eyes, the way he moves fluid and powerful, like a predator. "What are you?" I ask, the question different this time. Dominic meets my gaze, and for once, he doesn't look away or change the subject. "I'm someone who can protect you," he says. "Someone who wants to, if you'll let me." "I don't need a protector," I tell him, though we both know that's not entirely true. "I need a partner, someone who stands beside me, not in front of me." His smile is soft and real. "Is that what I am, your partner?" The question hangs between us, full of meaning. We've been careful these past weeks, taking things slowly. Kisses in the kitchen while the kettle boils. Hands touching as we pass books back and forth in the shop. Bodies close but not too close as we read on the couch after Lily is asleep. We haven't put a name to what we are, what we're becoming. "Yes," I say, surprising myself with the certainty I feel. "If you want to be." His hand finds mine on the railing, warm and strong and sure. "I want that more than anything," he says, his voice rough with emotion. "But Charlotte, there are things you don't know about me, things that might change how you feel." "Then tell me," I challenge gently. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." He hesitates, his eyes searching mine. "Soon," he promises. "Not tonight. Tonight, I just want to be here with you, knowing you're safe." I lean against him, letting his warmth chase away the last of the chill Victor left behind. Whatever secrets Dominic is keeping, whatever darkness follows him, I know in my heart that he would never hurt me the way Victor did, never use my love as a weapon against me, never make me feel small or worthless or afraid. "Stay with me tonight," I whisper, the words slipping out before I can second-guess them. "Not on the couch. With me." His breath catches, his hand tightening around mine. "Are you sure?" I nod, looking up into those strange, beautiful eyes that seem to see straight to my soul. "I'm sure." Later, as we lie together in my bed, his arms around me and his heartbeat steady under my ear, I feel truly safe for the first time since Victor walked into my shop. Whatever comes next, Victor's threats, Dominic's secrets, the unknown dangers that brought him and Lily to my door, will face it together. The last thing I see before sleep claims me is Dominic's face in the moonlight, his expression fierce and tender as he watches over me. Whatever he is, whatever he's hiding, one thing I know for certain: he would die before he let anything hurt me or Lily. And that knowledge is enough for now. Summer blooms across the town, painting my small world in vibrant colors. The bookshop thrives under Dominic's business suggestions, and Lily's charm that draws in customers who can't resist her shy smile and book recommendations. My apartment above the shop feels like a real home now, filled with laughter and bedtime stories and small, precious moments that I collect like treasures. Lily calls me Lottie now, the name falling from her lips like it's always belonged there. She sleeps in her own little bed, in what used to be my home office, the space transformed with soft yellow walls and twinkling fairy lights. At night, she reads to her stuffed wolf, stumbling over the bigger words but never giving up. And Dominic. Dominic has become the center of my world in ways I never thought possible. He sleeps beside me each night, his strong arms keeping the nightmares at bay. He makes coffee every morning, bringing me a steaming cup while I'm still half asleep. He knows all my favorite books, all my small habits, all the places where a gentle touch makes me sigh with contentment. We haven't put a label on what we are to each other. The word love hangs unspoken between us, too big and too precious to risk just yet. But we both know what this is, what we've become, a family. Unexpected and unplanned, but more real than anything I've ever known. Victor hasn't returned since that day in the shop, but his shadow lingers at the edges of our happiness. Dominic is always watchful, his eyes scanning the street when we walk to the park, his body tense when strangers enter the shop. He tries to hide it from me, but I know he's waiting for something or someone. It's a warm Thursday evening when everything changes. The shop is closed, and the three of us are having dinner in the small backyard garden I've been working on all summer. Strings of lights hang from the fence, casting a golden glow over our simple meal of pasta and salad. Lily chatters about the butterfly she saw at the park, her voice growing stronger and more confident every day. The peaceful moment shatters when Dominic's phone rings a harsh electronic sound that makes us all jump. He looks at the screen, his face instantly hardening into a mask I haven't seen in months. "I need to take this," he says, standing abruptly. "I'll just be a minute." He walks to the far end of the garden, his back to us as he speaks in low, urgent tones. I can't hear the words, but the tension in his shoulders tells me everything I need to know. Something is wrong. Very wrong. Lily seems to sense it too, her small face solemn as she watches Dominic. "Papa's worried," she whispers, the word Papa still new enough to make my heart squeeze with joy, despite the circumstances. "I'm sure everything's fine," I tell her, forcing a smile. "Finish your dinner, sweetie." When Dominic returns to the table, his golden eyes are dark with something that looks like fear, an expression I've never seen on his face before. He sits down heavily, pushing his plate away. "What's wrong?" I ask, reaching for his hand across the table. He shakes his head slightly, glancing at Lily. "Later," he mouths. We finish dinner in strained silence, the earlier happiness gone like mist, and the Sunday Lily's eyes dart between us, picking up on the tension but not understanding its source. That night, after Lily is tucked into bed with 3 bedtime stories and extra kisses, Dominic leads me to the balcony. The summer air is thick with the scent of flowers and the distant sound of traffic. Above us, stars peek through the light pollution of the small town, distant and cold. "I have to leave," Dominic says without preamble, the words falling between us like stones. My heart stutters in my chest. "What? Why?" He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration I've rarely seen from him. "They found us," he says, his voice low and urgent. "The people I've been hiding from. They're close, too close." "Who are they?" I demand, tired of half-truths and vague explanations. "Why are they after you?" "After Lily?" Dominic sighs, leaning heavily against the railing. "It's complicated," he begins. "Don't," I cut him off. "Don't give me that anymore. I deserve the truth, Dominic. All of it." He looks at me for a long moment, conflict clear in his eyes. "You're right," he says finally. You do. But Charlotte, there are things about me, about what I am, that are going to be hard for you to believe. Try me, I challenge, crossing my arms over my chest. He takes a deep breath, seeming to steel himself. I come from a bloodline that's different. My family, we're not entirely human. I stare at him, waiting for more. When he doesn't continue, I prompt. Not entirely human how? We can change form, he says, the words careful and measured. We have abilities that normal humans don't have. Strength, speed, senses that are enhanced. You're saying you're what? A superhero? I can't keep the disbelief from my voice. A small, sad smile touches his lips. Not a hero, no. The old stories would call us something else. He hesitates, then adds, werewolves is the closest human word, though it's not quite right. I wait for him to laugh, to tell me he's joking. But his face remains serious. His golden eyes I now realize I've never seen on another human, watching me intently. Werewolves, I repeat flatly. You expect me to believe that. I don't expect you to believe anything, he says quietly. I'm just telling you the truth, finally. My family leads a pack, a community of others like us. My brother betrayed me, tried to take control. Lily is special, the first female born in generations with the ability to shift. He wants her power, her bloodline. I shake my head, trying to make sense of what he's saying. Part of me wants to laugh, to dismiss his words as fantasy. But another part, the part that's noticed the strange things about him from the beginning, whispers that maybe, just maybe, he's telling the truth. Show me, I say suddenly. He blinks, surprised. What? If what you're saying is true, show me. Change. Whatever it is you change into. Pain flashes across his face. I can't, not here. The shift takes space, and it would frighten you. So you're asking me to just take this on faith? To believe you're some kind of mythical creature without proof? I'm asking you to trust me, he says, his voice low and intense. I've never lied to you, Charlotte. Not about anything important. Except what you really are, I point out. He flinches as if I've struck him. Yes, he admits. Except that, we stand in silence for a long moment, the weight of his revelation hanging between us. I think about all the small things that never quite added up, his unnatural speed and strength, the golden eyes that sometimes seemed to glow, the way he could hear things I couldn't, smell things I couldn't detect. These people, I say finally, the ones looking for you, they're like you? He shakes his head. Some of them. Others are hunters, humans who have tracked our kind for centuries. They work with my brother now, hunting me, hunting Lily. And you need to leave to, what? Face them? To lead them away from you, he corrects. As long as I'm here, you're in danger. They'll use anyone close to me as leverage. They'll hurt you to get to me. Cold fear trickles down my spine at his words. So you're running away? I'm protecting you, he insists. I thought I could stay hidden. I was wrong. Take us with you, I plead, surprising myself with the desperation in my voice. Lily and me, we'll go together. He shakes his head, pain clear in every line of his face. Where I'm going, I won't risk you, either of you. And Lily? I ask, my throat tight with unshed tears. You're taking her with you? Into danger? She stays with you, he says, and his voice breaks on the words. If you'll keep her safe, there's no one I trust more. The offer steals my breath away, a gift beyond measure, and a burden I'm not sure I'm strong enough to bear. You'd leave her with me? She loves you, he says simply. You're her mother in all the ways that matter, and you'll protect her with your life, I know that. When? I ask, the question barely audible. Tomorrow morning, he says, his eyes never leaving mine. Before dawn. The tears I've been holding back spill over. Hot tracks down my cheeks. And when will you come back? I don't know, he admits, the honesty brutal and painful. I turn away from him, unable to bear the sight of his face, the face I've come to love more than I ever thought possible. You're leaving us, I whisper, anger threading through the pain. Just like that. His hands come to rest on my shoulders, gentle but firm, as he turns me back to face him. Not just like that, he says fiercely. This is tearing me apart, Charlotte. You and Lily, you're everything to me. Everything. But I won't let my enemies destroy you because of me. And if you don't come back? I challenge, my voice breaking. What then? Then you and Lily will be safe, he says, as if that's all that matters. You'll have each other. I pull away from his touch, wrapping my arms around myself. That's not good enough, I tell him. Not after everything we've built. Not after us. Charlotte, he begins, reaching for me again. No, I cut him off, stepping back. If you're going to leave, then leave. But don't expect me to make it easy for you. Pain flashes in his eyes, but he doesn't argue. He knows I'm right to be angry, right to be hurt. He's choosing to walk away, choosing to fight his battles alone rather than let me stand beside him. We sleep apart that night, the first time in months. I curl up on my side of the bed, listening to him move quietly around the apartment, packing the few things he brought with him. Each sound is like a physical pain, a reminder that by this time tomorrow, he'll be gone. Dawn breaks, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, as Dominic kneels to hold Lily one last time. She clings to him, her small body racked with sobs, as he whispers promises I can't hear. I stand a few feet away, arms crossed tightly over my chest, determined not to break down in front of her. When he stands and turns to me, the grief in his golden eyes nearly shatters my resolve. Charlotte, he begins, then stops, seemingly at a loss for words. Just go, I say, my voice flat with the effort of holding back tears. Go fight your battles. Go be a hero. Just go. Instead of turning away, he steps closer, his hand rising to cup my cheek. His thumb brushes away a tear I didn't know I had shed. I'm not a hero, he says softly. I'm just trying to be worthy of what I found here. With you, with Lily. For one heartbeat, he leans forward, and I think he might kiss me. Instead, his lips brush my forehead, warm and gentle and full of unspoken feeling. Thank you, he whispers, his voice rough with emotion, for showing me what home feels like. Then he's gone, walking out the door with a small bag slung over his shoulder, not looking back. I watch from the window as he disappears down the street, his shoulders straight and his stride purposeful. Only when he turns the corner, truly gone from sight, do I allow myself to collapse, sobs tearing from my throat in painful gasps. Tiny arms wrap around my waist as Lily presses against me, her face wet with her own tears. Papa will come back, she says with a child's certainty. He promised. I gather her close, burying my face in her dark curls that smell faintly of the shampoo Dominic bought for her, the one that smells like strawberries. I hope so, sweetie, I managed to say. I really hope so. The days that follow are harder than I could have imagined. Lily is inconsolable at first, crying for Dominic every night when bedtime comes. I read extra stories, let her sleep with all her stuffed animals, even bring her into my bed when the nightmares come. Slowly, painfully, we establish new routines, just the two of us now. The bookshop helps the familiar rhythm of opening and closing, of helping customers find the perfect story, of reading hour with the neighborhood children. Lily helps too, sorting books and chattering to the customers, her grief easing a little more each day. Mine doesn't ease. It sits like a stone in my chest, heavy and cold. I miss him with a physical ache, the sound of his voice, the warmth of his hands, the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled. I miss the way he made me feel safe, cherished, strong. A week passes, then two. No word from Dominic, no sign that he's alive or dead, winning or losing whatever battle he's fighting. I check the news obsessively, looking for strange reports, unexplained phenomena, anything that might give me a clue to his whereabouts. At night, after Lily is asleep, I sit on the balcony and look at the stars, wondering if he's looking at the same sky, if he's thinking of us, if he'll ever find his way back to the home we built together. Come back to us. I whisper to the night, please, just come back. But the stars offer no answers, and the empty space beside me remains just that empty. Winter arrives with bitter cold and a blanket of snow that turns the town into a picture postcard. The bookshop windows are foggy with warmth from inside, decorated with paper snowflakes that Lily cut out with careful concentration. Christmas is coming, and despite the ache that hasn't left my chest in 4 months, I'm determined to make it special for her. Lily has settled into life without Dominic better than I expected. She still asks about him when he's coming home, if he's okay, if he misses us as much as we miss him. But the questions come less often now, replaced by the everyday concerns of a 5-year-old. Will it snow enough to build a snowman? Can we make cookies shaped like stars? Will Santa find her even though we don't have a chimney? I've settled too, in my own way. The sharp pain of those first weeks has dulled to a constant, throbbing ache that I've learned to live with. I keep the shop running. I make Lily's lunch for kindergarten every morning. I read stories and kiss scraped knees and check for monsters under the bed. I function. I survive. But the joy has gone out of everything, leaving only pale shadows of happiness. The official-looking car parked outside my bookshop on a Tuesday morning in December seems out of place among the festive decorations and gently falling snow. My first thought is of Victor. Has he found some new way to torment me? But as I watch through the shop window, the people who step out of the car aren't Victor or his lawyers. A man and woman in identical dark suits approach the door, their faces blank and professional. Something cold settles in my stomach as the bell jingles cheerfully to announce their entrance. "Miss Bennett?" the woman asks, her voice as crisp as her perfectly pressed suit. "Charlotte Bennett?" I nod, wiping my suddenly damp palms on my jeans. "Can I help you?" They glance around the empty shop. It's early yet, and the snow has kept most customers away. The man pulls out a leather wallet and flips it open to reveal a badge. "I'm Agent Reynolds," he says, "and this is Agent Davis. We're with the Department of Child Services." The cold feeling spreads through my entire body. What is this about? Agent Davis produces a manila folder from her briefcase. "We're here about the child currently in your care, Lily Blackwood." Lily is upstairs in the apartment, coloring at the kitchen table while she waits for me to finish opening the shop. I lower my voice instinctively. "What about her?" "We have documentation here," Agent Reynolds says, tapping the folder his partner holds, authorizing us to take the child into protective custody, pending proper placement. My heart pounds so hard I'm surprised they can't hear it. I don't understand. Lily is fine. She's happy here. Her father abandoned her, Agent Davis says without emotion. You have no legal claim to the child. Dominic didn't abandon her, I argue, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. He's coming back. Their exchanged glance speaks volumes. Miss Bennett, Agent Reynolds says, his voice softening slightly. We have reason to believe Dominic Blackwood won't be returning. Ever. Ice forms in my veins. What does that mean? Do you know something about him? Is he... I can't finish the question. Can't voice my deepest fear. That information is classified, Agent Davis says briskly. What matters now is the welfare of the child. Her welfare is fine, I insist. She's healthy and happy. She's in kindergarten at Lincoln Elementary. She has friends in the neighborhood. She has a home. A temporary arrangement at best, Agent Reynolds counters. Without legal guardianship, you have no standing. Then help me get legal guardianship, I plead. I'll do whatever it takes. Fill out forms, go to court, anything. That won't be possible. Agent Davis says, opening the folder to reveal official-looking documents with government seals. The child has been designated a ward of the state, with special placement instructions. My mind races, trying to make sense of what's happening. Special placement? What does that mean? It means you need to step aside, Agent Reynolds says, his tone hardening. The child comes with us. A small voice from the back of the shop freezes us all. Lottie? Lily stands in the doorway that leads to the stairs, her coloring book clutched in one hand, her golden eyes wide with confusion and the beginning of fear. She's wearing the red sweater I bought her last week and the tiny silver wolf pendant that Dominic left for her, the only thing he left behind. It's okay, sweetie, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. These people were just leaving. Actually, Agent Davis says, taking a step toward Lily, we're here for you, Lily. We're going to take you somewhere safe. Lily's eyes dart between the strangers and me, her small body tensing like a deer ready to bolt. I am safe, she says, her voice small but certain. I'm with Lottie. Of course you are, Agent Reynolds says, his voice taking on that false cheerfulness adults use when they're lying to children. But we need you to come with us now. There are some special doctors who need to see you. The word doctors makes Lily flinch, her free hand rising to clutch the wolf pendant around her neck. Something about her reaction strikes me as odd, as if she knows exactly what kind of doctors they mean. Please don't let them take me, Lottie, she whispers, and the fear in her voice makes my decision in an instant. I move to stand between Lily and the agents. No, I say, the word ringing with finality. Excuse me? Agent Reynolds steps forward threateningly. I said no. You're not taking her. Miss Bennett, Agent Davis says, her hand moving inside her jacket. Obstruction is a federal offense. I don't care what it is. I kneel to Lily's level, looking into those golden eyes, so like her father's. Go upstairs, sweetheart. Pack your backpack like we practiced. Dominic and I had created the emergency plan months ago when he first told me about the people hunting them. At the time, I thought he was being paranoid. Now, I'm grateful for his foresight. As Lily runs upstairs, I face the agents again. Whatever you think you know about Dominic, you're wrong. And whatever you think you're going to do today, you're wrong about that too. Agent Davis pulls a gun from inside her jacket, an actual gun, pointed at me in my own bookshop. We have authorization to use force if necessary. I should be terrified. I should be backing down. But all I feel is a calm, cold fury. So do I. What follows is a blur of motion and adrenaline. The self-defense moves. Dominic taught me kick in automatically a hard strike to Agent Reynolds' throat when he tries to grab me, a swift kick to Agent Davis's knee that makes her stumble long enough for me to dash up the stairs. Lily is waiting by the bedroom window, her small backpack on her shoulders, her face pale with fear but her eyes determined. The bad people found us, she says. Not a question. Yes, but they won't catch us, I promise her. Grabbing the emergency bag from under the loose floorboard where Dominic hid it. Inside is cash, fake IDs for all three of us, and a map with coordinates marked in the mountains, hundreds of miles north. We slip out the window and down the fire escape at the back of the building. The metal stairs slippery with snow. I can hear shouting from inside the apartment they've discovered we're gone. We need to move fast. Dominic's old truck is still parked in the alley where he left it 4 months ago. I'd kept it maintained, hoping he'd come back for it for us. Now, I'm just grateful for the escape route. The engine roars to life on the first try, and I peel out of the alley just as Agent Reynolds bursts through the back door of the shop. His face, visible in my rearview mirror for a split second, is contorted with rage. Hold on tight, I tell Lily as I navigate the snowy streets. heart pounding in my ears. We're going on an adventure. Her small hand finds mine on the gearshift, warm and trusting. Like Papa told us to? If the bad people came? Exactly like Papa told us to. I confirm, trying to project a confidence I don't feel. I've just assaulted 2 federal agents. I'm essentially kidnapping a child who isn't legally mine. We're fugitives now, running from people with guns and badges and the full weight of the government behind them. Where are we going? Lily asks as we leave the town limits. The familiar landscape giving way to open highway flanked by snow-covered fields. I glance at the map Dominic left, the coordinates marked in his neat handwriting. Home, I answer. We're going to find home. The drive north is tense and exhausting. I stick to back roads, avoiding highways and towns as much as possible. We stop only for gas and food, and I pay cash every time, keeping my head down and my face partly hidden by a scarf. Lily stays quiet, understanding the gravity of our situation, even at 5 years old. Night falls, and still we drive, the headlights cutting through darkness and occasional snow flurries. Lily sleeps in the passenger seat, her head resting against the window, her breath fogging the glass in small, regular puffs. I can't stop thinking about what the agent said about Dominic. We have reason to believe he won't be returning, ever. The words echo in my head, feeding my worst fears. Is he dead? Captured? Has he forgotten us? No, I refuse to believe that. The Dominic I know would move heaven and earth to come back to us. If he hasn't returned, it's because he can't, because something or someone is stopping him. 3 days of tense driving later, we reach the coordinates on the map. The truck struggles up a narrow mountain road, the wheels slipping in the deep snow. Just when I think we'll have to continue on foot, the trees open up to reveal a small clearing, and in it, a cabin. It's not large, but it's solid-looking, built of dark logs with a steep roof designed to shed snow. Smoke rises from the chimney. Someone has been here recently, or might still be inside. My heart leaps with hope. Could it be? I park the truck and turn to Lily, who's now wide awake and staring at the cabin with wide eyes. Stay here for a minute, okay? I need to check if it's safe. It's safe, she says with complete certainty. Papa made it for us. I want to believe her, but caution wins out. Still, let me look first. The cabin door isn't locked, a good sign or a bad one. I'm not sure. I push it open slowly, tensing for any sign of danger. The interior is dim but warm, heated by a wood stove in the corner. It's a single large room with a small kitchen area, a table and chairs, a couch, and a bed in the corner. A ladder leads to what looks like a small loft space. The walls are lined with bookshelves, filled with books and supplies. Most importantly, it's empty of people. Whoever lit the stove is gone. I return to the truck and help Lily down, her small boots sinking into the snow that reaches almost to her knees. It's okay, I tell her. No one's there. Her face falls slightly, and I realize she was hoping to find Dominic waiting for us. But it's warm inside, I add quickly. Someone made sure of that. The cabin is even better stocked than I first realized. The cupboards are full of canned and dry goods. The chest freezer in a small utility room off the main space is stocked with meat and vegetables. There are warm clothes in all our sizes, hanging in a small closet, toys and books for Lily. Everything we need to survive for months. Papa knew we'd come, Lily says, climbing onto one of the kitchen chairs to peer out the window at the snowy forest. He made it nice for us. And I nod, throat tight with emotion. Dominic prepared this place for us, a safe haven, a refuge. He may not be here in person, but his care for us surrounds us in every detail. As night falls, I build up the fire in the stove and make a simple dinner of pasta and sauce from the well-stocked pantry. Lily explores the cabin, exclaiming over each new discovery, the teddy bear on the small bed in the loft that is clearly meant to be hers, the collection of children's books, the colorful quilt folded at the foot of the bed. "Look, Lottie," she calls, pulling a book from the shelf. "It's my favorite. It's the book about a lost puppy finding a new family. The first book she ever asked me to read to her, back when she was just beginning to speak again." I take it from her hands, my fingers tracing the familiar cover. When I open it, a note falls out, written in Dominic's bold handwriting. "For my little wolf," it reads, "remember that home is where your pack is, not a place. I will find you both when it's safe. Wait for me. D." Tears blur my vision as I read the words. He is alive. He does plan to come back to us. The agents were wrong or lying. "What does it say?" Lily asks, pressing against my side. I read her the note, watching as a smile lights up her face. "See, Papa is coming back," she says with that same unshakable certainty. He promised. That night, after Lily is asleep in the loft bed, I sit by the window, watching the snow fall gently in the moonlight. The forest stretches around us in all directions, silent and beautiful and wild. I think about the choices that brought us here. Dominic's choice to leave us for our safety, my choice to run with Lily rather than let her be taken, all the small choices that added up to this moment. I think about what the agent said, about Lily being a ward of the state, with special placement instructions, about the special doctors who wanted to see her, about the fear in her eyes when they mentioned doctors, as if she knew exactly what they meant. I think about Dominic's fantastical claim that he and Lily are something not entirely human. At the time, it seemed impossible to believe. But now, having seen the fear in those agents' eyes, the lengths they went to in trying to take Lily, I wonder if there was more truth to his words than I was willing to accept. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. They wanted Lily for a reason, and it wasn't her welfare they were concerned with. They would have taken her away, experimented on her perhaps, turned her into a test subject or a weapon. "I won't let them have you," I whisper, looking up at the loft where she sleeps peacefully. "I'll protect you with my life, just like your father would." As if in answer, the wind picks up outside, carrying with it the distant sound of a wolf's howl. It's probably just a normal wolf. These mountains are full of them, according to the guidebook on the shelf. But as I listen to the haunting sound, I can't help but wonder if it's someone else, a message perhaps, a promise. "Come back to us," I whisper to the night. "We're waiting for you." But only the wind answers, carrying the snow in swirling patterns past the window. We're alone here, Lily and I, fugitives and runaways, hiding from people with guns and badges. But we're also together, a family in all the ways that matter, keeping faith with the man who brought us together. For now, that has to be enough. The cabin in the northern wilderness has been our home for 3 months now. Winter's harsh grip has begun to loosen. The massive snowdrifts shrinking a little more each day as spring whispers its arrival through the pine trees. Lily and I have settled into a routine that feels almost normal: lessons at the kitchen table in the mornings, walks in the forest in the afternoons, stories by the fire in the evenings. I've taught her to read properly now, and she devours books with the same hunger I had at her age. She's smart, unnaturally so sometimes, picking up new concepts with a speed that startles me. And there are other things, the way she can hear the approach of animals in the forest long before I can, the way her eyes seem to glow in the dim cabin light, the way she sometimes moves with a grace no 5-year-old should possess. I find myself thinking more and more about Dominic's impossible claim that he and Lily aren't entirely human, that they can change form, that they're being hunted for what they are. Each day, the idea seems less fantastical and more like the only explanation that makes sense. We haven't seen another human being since we arrived. The nearest town is 30 miles away, and I've only driven there twice for supplies we couldn't do without. The isolation should feel oppressive, but instead it feels like freedom. Freedom from prying eyes, from questions, from the constant fear of discovery. Lily thrives here. She runs wild through the melting snow, her laughter echoing among the trees. She builds forts of sticks and stones, talks to the birds that have begun to return, tracks rabbit footprints with the seriousness of a born hunter. The silent, frightened child who first came into my life is gone, replaced by this vibrant, confident little girl who seems to belong to the forest as much as to me. I miss Dominic with an ache that never quite goes away, but his presence is everywhere in the cabin, in the books he chose for us, in the careful planning of our supplies, in the small luxuries he included to make this place feel like home. Sometimes, when Lily is asleep, I read the note he left us over and over, tracing his handwriting with my fingertips. "Wait for me," he wrote, and so we do. It's a clear night in late March when everything changes. Lily has been asleep for hours, exhausted from a day of helping me tap the maple trees that Dominic marked for syrup. I'm sitting on the small porch, wrapped in a blanket against the lingering chill, watching the full moon rise above the mountains. The forest is alive with night sounds, the hoot of an owl, the rustle of small creatures in the underbrush, the distant call of coyotes. Then I hear movement at the edge of the clearing, something large pushing through the melting snow. My heart jumps to my throat, and I reach for the rifle Dominic left for protection. I've practiced with it, though the thought of actually using it makes my stomach churn. The moonlight is bright enough to see by, painting the clearing in silver and shadow. At first, I see nothing. Then, at the tree line, a pair of eyes glow in the darkness, golden eyes that reflect the moonlight like twin flames. A wolf steps into the clearing, the largest I've ever seen. Silver gray with a darker stripe down its back. It's massive, standing as tall as my waist, with powerful shoulders and a proud head that it holds high as it surveys the cabin. Those golden eyes seem to look straight through me, intelligent and aware in a way no animal should be. I should be terrified. A wolf this size could easily kill me before I could get a shot off. But something about those eyes keeps my finger from the trigger. Something familiar, something impossible. Dominic? The name escapes my lips before I can stop it. The wolf's ears prick forward at the sound of my voice. It takes another step toward the cabin, then stops, as if waiting for something. I set the rifle down carefully and stand, the blanket falling from my shoulders. The cold night air raises goosebumps on my arms, but I barely notice. My entire being is focused on the wolf, on those eyes that seem to hold a human intelligence. "Dominic?" I say again, louder this time. "Is that you?" The wolf approaches slowly, its gaze never leaving mine. As it reaches the steps of the porch, something impossible happens. The air around it seems to shimmer, like heat rising from hot pavement. The wolf's form blurs, stretches, changes. Where the wolf stood now kneels Dominic, naked and trembling in the moonlight. "Charlotte!" he gasps, his voice rough from disuse. I drop to my knees, frozen between disbelief and desperate hope. "You're alive." I'm more than alive. He stands, seemingly unaware of his nakedness, his eyes burning with intensity. "I'm free, and I've come back for you. For both of you." I should be shocked, terrified even. I just saw a man turn from a wolf before my eyes, confirming everything he told me that I refused to believe. But all I feel is relief so profound it makes my legs weak. He's here. He's alive. He's come back to us. Inside the cabin, I wrap him in blankets as he tells me everything about the ancient bloodline of shifters he descends from, about the power struggle within the pack, about his brother's betrayal, and his fight to reclaim his rightful place as alpha. "We're not werewolves, not exactly," he explains, his hands wrapped around a mug of hot tea I made him. "That's a human simplification. We're shifters, people who carry the blood of both worlds. We don't change with the moon, though it gives us strength. We change at will, keeping our minds, our souls." "And Lily?" I ask. His face softens at her name. "She's special. the first female born with the ability to shift in generations. In our world, that makes her precious beyond measure. I think of the agents who came for her, their talk of special doctors. The people who came for Lily, I say. They weren't government agents. Hunters, he confirms. Working with my brother. They've tracked shifter kind for centuries. They want her power. And me? Why involve me? His hand finds mine, warm and solid. That was never my intention. I came to your town hunting my brother's allies. I never expected to find you. And then what? I prompt when he trails off. Then you grabbed my hand that night at the gala, and everything changed. Shifters have a connection, a recognition when they meet their true mate. I pull back, something cold settling in my stomach. So this was all what? Biological? Instinctual? At first, he admits, not looking away from my gaze. But Charlotte, I stayed because of who you are, your courage, your kindness, how you loved Lily without question, how you faced your fears, how you made me feel human in a way I'd forgotten was possible. He kneels before me, taking both my hands in his. I am Alpha King now. My brother is gone. The pack is secure. I've come to ask you to return with me, to be my queen, Lily's mother, to help me lead with compassion instead of fear. The words hang between us, heavy with possibility and danger. You're asking me to leave everything. I'm asking you to claim everything you deserve, he counters. A family, protection, love. Love? His smile is tender. No trace of the predator visible now. Charlotte Bennett, I have crossed mountains and forests, fought battles, reclaimed my birthright, all with one purpose, to be worthy of you. Because, yes, I love you. With everything I am, both man and wolf. I think of my bookshop, now lost to me, my small apartment, the life I built after escaping Victor. It seems so distant now, like something from another lifetime. Then I look at this impossible man before me, offering an impossible future. What if I'm afraid? I whisper. Then be afraid, he says. But be brave too, as you've always been. A sound from the ladder to the loft makes us both turn. Lily stands there in her pajamas, her eyes wide with shock and joy. Papa, she whispers, as if afraid he might vanish if she speaks too loudly. Dominic opens his arms, and she flies into them, sobbing with happiness. You came back! You came back like you promised! Of course I did, little wolf, he murmurs into her hair. I would always find my way back to you. I watched them, this man and this child who have become my whole world. Whatever Dominic is, human or wolf or something in between, doesn't matter. What matters is who he is. The man who protected us, who loved us enough to leave us to keep us safe, who fought his way back to us against impossible odds. As the night deepens around the cabin, Lily falls asleep in Dominic's arms, exhausted by emotion. He carries her back to her bed in the loft, tucking her in with a tenderness that makes my heart ache. When he returns to my side, his face is serious again. There's more, he says. Things you need to understand before you decide. Tell me, I say. He speaks then of the pack, hundreds of shifters living in a hidden valley many miles from here, of their laws and customs, their strengths and weaknesses, of the challenges we would face as a human queen to a shifter king, of the enemies who still hunt them, who would hunt me too if I stood at his side. It won't be easy, he warns. There are those who will resist a human queen, those who will see you as weak, as a liability. They don't know me very well then, I say, a smile tugging at my lips. His answering smile is brief. No, they don't. But they will, if you choose to come with us. I reach out, my fingers tracing the scar above his eyebrow, the wound I treated the night he first came to me. You say shifters recognize their true mates. Did you know that first night at the gala? He shakes his head. Not immediately. Not until you touched me. Then it was like coming home to a place I'd never been before. Like finding a piece of myself I didn't know was missing. Is that why you came to the bookshop that night? Because of this mate bond? No, he says firmly. I came because we were injured and desperate and you were kind. I stayed because of who you are, Charlotte, not because of what my wolf recognized in you. I think of all that's happened since that rainy night. The slow building of trust, the growing love, the family we've become. I think of Lily, who calls me Mama now when she's sleepy or scared. I think of Dominic, who showed me that strength isn't the absence of fear, but the courage to face it. When would we leave? I ask. Hope flares in his golden eyes. You'll come? I'll come, I say, suddenly certain. This cabin was never meant to be our final home, was it? Just a way station. A safe place to wait for you. He nods. I needed somewhere I knew you'd be protected while I dealt with my brother. Somewhere the hunters wouldn't look. And now that's done? Now we go home, he says simply. To the valley, to the pack, to our future. He reaches for me then, his hands cupping my face as he searches my eyes. Are you sure, Charlotte? Once we go there, once the pack accepts you as my mate, as their queen, there's no going back. You'll be part of our world forever. I think of my old life, the quiet bookshop, the small apartment, the careful independence I built after escaping Victor. It was a good life, a safe life, but it was also a small life, bounded by fear and caution. I'm sure, I tell him. I want this. I want you. I want the life we can build together, however complicated it might be. His smile is like the sun breaking through clouds. Then let me show you something, he says, leading me to the door. Outside, the full moon bathes the clearing in silver light. Dominic steps off the porch, turning to face me. This is who I am, he says, both man and wolf. I want you to see me, all of me, before you make your final choice. Before my eyes. His form shifts again, the shimmering air, the blurring of boundaries, and then the magnificent silver wolf stands before me, proud and wild and beautiful. His golden eyes, still Dominic's eyes, watch me with intelligence and love. I step forward slowly, hand outstretched. The wolf Dominic moves to meet me, pressing his muzzle into my palm. His fur is thick and soft under my fingers, his body warm with life. Beautiful, I whisper, stroking his head. You're beautiful. The wolf makes a soft sound, almost a purr, leaning into my touch. There is no fear in me now, only wonder and acceptance. This is Dominic, my Dominic, in his other form, different but the same, wild but gentle, other but mine. When the sun rises the next morning, I watch it from the porch, Dominic's arms around me, his chest warm against my back. We've talked through the night, planning our journey, our future. In a few hours, we'll wake Lily and tell her we're going to a new home, a place where she can be fully herself, where she'll be surrounded by others like her, where she'll learn to shift when she's old enough. Are you still sure? Dominic asks, his breath warm against my ear. I turn in his arms to face him, my hands coming up to frame his face. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I tell him, wherever you go, I go. You and Lily are my home now. His kiss is tender at first, then deepening with a passion that steals my breath. When we part, both breathing hard, his golden eyes glow with happiness and love. My queen, he whispers. I smile, feeling stronger and more certain than I ever have before. My king, I answer. As the sun climbs higher, painting the snow-covered mountains in shades of pink and gold, I know that this is just the beginning of our story. There will be challenges ahead, dangers to face, a new world to navigate, but we'll face it all together. The human, the wolf, and the child who brought us together. We're going home. 2 years later, I stand on the balcony of what was once Dominic's ancestral home and is now ours, watching the pack gather for the full moon. The valley stretches below me, nestled between mountains so tall they seem to touch the clouds. The first stars have begun to appear in the deepening blue of the evening sky, and the full moon rises like a silver coin above the eastern peaks. The stone beneath my feet is warm from the day's sun, and the air smells of pine and wildflowers. From this height, I can see the entire settlement stone houses built into the mountainside, gardens bursting with summer vegetables, the training grounds where younger shifters learn to control their abilities. It's beautiful in a wild, untamed way that still takes my breath away, even after 2 years of calling it home. Lily, now 8, runs among the children gathering in the central clearing. Her dark curls bounce as she chases her friends, her laughter carrying up to where I stand. She wears a simple dress that allows for easy movement, and around her neck, the silver wolf pendant that Dominic gave her glints in the fading light. She's showing signs of her first shift approaching heightened senses, bursts of unusual strength, a connection to the moon that makes her restless when it's full. Soon, she'll join the other shifters in their monthly runs through the forest. I watch her with pride and a touch of wistfulness. My little girl is growing up, finding her place in this world that is hers by birth but not mine. Yet she still runs to me when she's hurt, still curls against me for bedtime stories, still calls me Mama with love and certainty. Dominic's arms encircle me from behind, his hand resting gently on the swell of my belly where our second child grows. At 5 months, the pregnancy is obvious now. My dress is letting out to accommodate the new life we created together. "Having regrets, my queen?" he murmurs against my neck, his breath warm against my skin. I lean back into his warmth, remembering the frightened woman who once hid in the shadows of a ballroom. How far I've come from that person, from hiding from my ex-husband to leading a community, from fearing my own shadow to standing tall in the sunlight. "Not one," I say, covering his hand with mine. Below us, the pack continues to gather 50 men and women who once lived by the law of fang and claw, now governed by compassion and justice. The changes weren't easy. Many resisted a human queen, an alpha who spoke of cooperation rather than domination. There were challenges to Dominic's leadership, whispers behind my back, open hostility from some quarters. But change came, slowly and then all at once. The first turning point was when I stood my ground against Dominic's cousin, who challenged my right to speak in council. Instead of backing down or looking to Dominic for protection, I faced the man directly, all 6.5 feet of angry shifter, and told him exactly why his plan to isolate the pack further from human society would eventually destroy them. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't show fear. I simply spoke the truth as I saw it, with the calm certainty that I belonged in that room as much as anyone. The council chamber had gone silent, waiting for the explosion of rage from the challenger. Instead, he had looked thoughtful, then nodded slowly. "The human has wisdom," he had said. "I will consider her words." It wasn't immediate acceptance, but it was a start. Over months and years, I earned the respect of even the most traditional pack members, not by trying to be like them, but by bringing my human perspective, my different way of thinking, my willingness to build bridges between their world and mine. Now, as Dominic and I watch the gathering below, I can see the results of our work together. Shifter children play alongside the handful of human children who have joined our community. Elders who once advocated for complete isolation now teach classes on human customs and technology. The tension that once filled the air like smoke has been replaced by a sense of purpose, a forward movement. The delegates from the Eastern Packs arrive tomorrow, I remind Dominic, turning in his arms to face him. He chuckles, the sound rumbling through his chest. "And they'll find our territory prosperous and peaceful, our treaties with the hunters holding strong. All because you were willing to see another way. All because you showed me another way," he corrects, his golden eyes warm as they meet mine. You were never the weakness I needed to protect, Charlotte. You were the strength I needed to learn. I rise on tiptoes to kiss him, still marveling that this powerful, beautiful man is mine, that we found each other across worlds, across differences that should have kept us apart. His hand cups my cheek, thumb stroking my skin with a tenderness that belies the strength I know he possesses. The baby kicks then, a strong little nudge that makes me laugh against Dominic's lips. He pulls back, placing his hand over the spot. Active tonight, he says, wonder in his voice. Though this is our first child together, he approaches fatherhood with the same loving attention he's always shown Lily. The moon, I say with a smile. Your child feels it, just like the rest of you. The healer isn't sure if our baby will be a shifter. The genes are complex, she explained, especially with a human mother. But the strong reaction to the full moon suggests the baby has at least some shifter traits. Only time will tell if he or she will be able to change form like their father and sister. As the moon rises higher, I feel the electric charge in the air. Dominic's eyes begin to glow, the shift calling to him. Once, this part of him terrified me. Now, I place my palm against his chest, feeling his dual nature pulse beneath my fingers. Go, I whisper. Run with them. I'll be here when you return. His kiss is both tender and wild. Always, he promises. I watch as he descends the stone steps to join the others. The pack parts for him, heads bowing in respect, not born of fear, but of genuine admiration. He stops to ruffle Lily's hair, to speak with the elders, to clap a young shifter on the shoulder. Then he moves to the center of the clearing, where the moonlight pools like silver water. The shift is beautiful to watch, a ripple of energy that transforms human to wolf in a heartbeat. Where once stood my husband now runs the magnificent silver wolf, turning once to look at me before leading the pack toward the forest. From the doorway behind me, I hear Lily's voice. Can I wait up for Papa? I turn to find her watching the departing wolves with longing. Soon she'll be among them, running wild under the moon. But for now, she's still my little girl, caught between two worlds, just as I am. I gather her close. This child who first taught me I could love without boundaries. Of course, little one. Together, we watch the wolves disappear into the trees, their howls rising to greet the moon. Lily's hand finds mine, small and warm and strong. Tell me again how you met Papa, she says, though she knows the story by heart now. I lead her inside to the large chair by the fire, settling her beside me, as I've done hundreds of times before. The room is warm and comfortable, filled with books from my old shop and treasures from our life here. A blanket woven by the pack's oldest member, toys carved by Dominic's hands, wildflowers Lily picked this morning arranged in a clay vase. Well, I begin, stroking her dark curls. Once there was a woman who was very afraid. I tell her the story of the charity gala, of grabbing a stranger's hand to escape an ex-husband. I tell her about the rainy night when her father brought her to my door. I tell her about building a family from broken pieces, about finding strength in vulnerability, about the courage to love despite fear. As I speak, I think of all the ways I've changed from victim to survivor, from survivor to protector, from protector to queen. The woman who once couldn't imagine standing up to one man now helps govern a kingdom. I think of the lessons I want to teach both my children, that true strength comes from compassion, that families are built by choice as much as blood, that love is worth any risk. Are you happy, Mama? Lily asks when I finish the story, using the name that still brings tears to my eyes. I look at my daughter, at the home we've built, at the family we've chosen, at the impossible life that began with a desperate grasp of a stranger's hand. Yes, I tell her, my voice strong and certain, happier than I ever knew was possible. Later, when the pack returns and Lily is finally asleep in her bed, Dominic and I stand once more on the balcony. The night is cool now, the valley bathed in moonlight. His arm is warm around my waist, his body solid and real beside me. The envoys will want assurances, he says, thinking ahead to tomorrow's diplomatic meetings. Proof that our way can work. They'll have it, I reply. They'll see what we've built here, how we're stronger together than apart. He smiles down at me, pride clear in his golden eyes. My brilliant queen, he murmurs. Who would have thought a human would teach wolves how to thrive? Who would have thought a wolf would teach a human how to be brave? I counter. We stand in comfortable silence, watching the moon begin its descent toward the western mountains. In a few hours, the valley will wake to a new day, full of challenges and joys, negotiations and celebrations, the 1,000 small moments that make up a life. I place my hand over my growing belly, feeling our child move beneath my palm. This baby will be born into a world of both human and shifter, a bridge between realms just as I am. He or she will know both the comfort of hearth and home and the wild freedom of the forest. Will learn both human wisdom and wolf instinct. Will inherit a kingdom built not on fear and dominance, but on understanding and respect. What are you thinking? Dominic asks, noticing my thoughtful expression. I smile up at him. This man who is both human and wolf, both fierce protector and gentle lover, both king and partner. I'm thinking about transformations. I tell him how sometimes the things we fear most become the things that save us. He draws me closer, his hand joining mine over our child. Like a human who feared wolves, like a wolf who feared love, I counter softly. His laugh rumbles through his chest, warm and real. We saved each other, I think. The baby kicks against our joined hands, as if in agreement. Around us, the valley sleeps peacefully under the watchful moon. In the forest, night creatures go about their business. In the settlement below, our people rest securely, knowing tomorrow brings another day of building the future we all believe in. This is our kingdom, hard-won and precious. Built from broken pieces, strengthened by difference, sustained by love. Not what either of us expected, but exactly what we both needed to become whole. We did, I agree, leaning into his strength, offering my own in return. We do, and we will continue to save each other, day by day, moon by moon, transformation by transformation, for all the days to come.